The Earliest Timepieces by Rebecca Sparling. Could you imagine a world without clocks? For many people, clocks are essential parts of their busy lifestyles. They let us know when it's time to wake up, go to class, and even eat our meals. Long before there were clocks, however, our ancestors looked to Mother Nature to measure time. The phases of the moon and the change of seasons made weeks and months relatively easy for people to measure. The movement of the sun in the sky marked the passage of the day, but hours and minutes were more difficult to measure. Sundials were the solution to measuring these shorter lengths of time. You may have noticed decorative sundials in the neighbors' yards, but the first sundials were little more than sticks stuck in the ground and surrounded by stones. Because the Earth rotates on its axis, the sun appears to move from east to west across the sky. As the sun, quote, moves, it shines on objects at different angles and creates shadows that shorten and lengthen as time passes. The shadow cast by the stick of an early sundial would travel around the stones, giving people who looked at it a rough idea of the time of day. Though no one knows for sure when or where the first sundial was invented, the Greek historian Herodotus declared that the sundial originated in Babylonia. Evidence shows that societies in ancient Egypt, China, and Rome all used different types of sundials during this time. The Babylonians and Egyptians used four-sided stone monuments called obelisks to tell time. The moving shadows of the obelisk informed civilians when it was midday, enabling them to divide the day into two parts. Later, they integrated markings around the base of the obelisk to represent hours. Smaller sundials consisting of a flat plate with a gnomon, or pointer, fixed in the center eventually replaced imposing obelisks. As the sun traveled through the sky, the gnomon's shadow would point to numbers on the plate. These numbers represented the hours of daylight, with a blank space left to signify the nighttime hours. At this point in history, the day was divided into 12, quote, temporary hours. Depending on the season, these hours were not always equivalent. The hours were longer in the summer and shorter in the winter, according to a person's geographical position on the earth. In some areas, an hour in the summer was twice as long as an hour in the winter. People soon realized that sundials had a fundamental flaw. Because the earth tilts on its axis, the sun's path across the sky changes every day. The North Pole tilts towards the sun for half of the year and away from the sun for the other half. This means that the sun rises at a different time and in a different spot on the horizon every day of the year. Because the Earth is round, the sun's rays do not hit the ground at the same angle every day. These two factors affect the accuracy of the sundial. As scientific knowledge about the Earth's relationship to the sun improved, more comprehensive sundials were invented to overcome these problems. The horizontal sundial was one way of reducing sundial snafus. In this model, the plate is level, and the gnomon sits at an angle parallel to the Earth's axis. This allows the sundial to give a more precise reading. Even though sundials' accuracy had improved, mechanical clocks soon diminished the need for these ancient timekeepers. Clocks became popular because they kept time at night and when the sky was overcast. In addition, a conflict existed between sundial time and standard time. During the 13th century, equal hours replaced temporary hours. An hour became equivalent to 60 minutes, and a day became equivalent to 24 hours. This presented a problem for sundial owners, however. Sundials indicate noon when the sun is at its highest point, regardless of standard time. Noon doesn't occur at the same standard time every day because of the tilt of the Earth's axis and its orbit around the sun. Over time, the differences between the two timepieces built up, making sundial time up to 14 minutes slower than standard time in February and 16 minutes faster than standard time in November. This is one of the reasons that we use clocks instead of sundials to regulate time. Though we live in a digital age, the first timepiece has not been forgotten. Sundials adorn many gardens, and public interest in these gadgets has led to the creation of several sundial societies around the world. The sundial serves to remind us of how people's understanding of time has evolved.